we're seeing that we have one game. I'm going to bring up our nice little weather impact table on our on our website. So we're showing that the game at Miami with New York Jets playing at Miami, it looks like there's going to be some wind, maybe a slight rain, but we are showing a caution. And one of the meteorologists now, I don't know who, but someone can talk us through it. And I have the wind map up actually for game time.
Sean, why don't you take us through it, big guy?
Sure. So what we're going to be looking at on Sunday, and as Sunday progresses, we're looking at some convection popping up, starting over southeast Florida, and then that convection will push across the state as the day continues. So we actually have 3 games in Florida that we are monitoring. We have a game in Tampa, we have a game in Jacksonville, and the one that we're most concerned about and the one that we're really targeting is Miami. Now, we talk about this a lot on the show, but convection is just, it is what it is. It's a real tough thing to forecast. But what we are seeing is models are getting into consensus, meaning all of the models are starting to agree that there looks like some substantial convection over Miami during game time. Now, they have a 4 o'clock kickoff, and that's when convection usually starts building over Florida, usually mid to late afternoon. So there look like there could be some cells that move through the area that can bring isolated heavy amounts of rain. And then surprisingly as well, we were looking in the wind, which Colin has up right now, also looks to be elevated. We're looking at 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. And this is also kind of interesting because on the show yesterday when Mike and I were on, a lot of the questions that they asked us were about, hey, how are winds affecting stadiums in different ways? And we noticed at the Hard Rock Stadium, they have a really interesting structure. It's almost like a covering over the stadium except for just the field. And so, Nick, you ran some stats on wind over Miami, and what did you see?
Not much of a relationship for quarterback or wide receivers. The distribution is almost exactly the same as any other game. So the wind really doesn't seem to play much of an impact at all in Miami.
So I navigated on our website for the viewers. In our weather blog, we always show this nice graphic. I'll call them cue cards. I call them cue cards in my head, but the stadium cards, and you can see what we're talking about with the stadium. It's it's very unique setup that it's open, but not really open to the elements like wind.
Yeah, it's not exposed really. It's interesting. So yeah, and we were wondering, different stadiums, different constructions, and that's something we're going to be investigating a lot more, doing research on how certain stadiums influence certain weather elements. So the one that we're really interested in is rain, and we do expect isolated pockets of heavy precipitation. Is that going to occur over the 3-hour window of the game? We'll have to keep you monitored on that. But if we do get it, some of the things we did notice, Fitzpatrick is had quite a few games in the rain. We noticed about a 17% reduction in yards per game. So what that translates to is a couple of fantasy points potentially. And Mike, what did you see if that does happen? Where does that drop them?
Yeah, so essentially, if you do a standard half point PPR scoring for quarterbacks, essentially Ryan Fitzpatrick is currently clocked in around the 12th overall quarterback. A 2-point reduction actually takes him outside of the top 20. So while we're not sure if this is going to be a heavy rain event or persistent rain, we do know that Ryan Fitzpatrick does struggle. And, if the rain ends up being a problem there on Sunday afternoon, then, it's someone maybe would want to stay away from if you have better options. And maybe DFS, it's up in the air. We can talk about that a little while here.
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead, John.
Want to go also something about the Miami game. I forgot to mention Gore, this kind of ties in as well since Le'Veon Bell is gone. Gore may be taking over lead roles, I guess TBD, right, to be determined. But we do notice that with Gore, he doesn't, we do notice an increased workload with him during rainy games. It's about a 24% increase in his attempts. So what he'll do with those attempts, who knows? But I do expect him to get some extra carries if he's the lead back.
What he's going to do is he's going to score. He's going to score. He's playing the Jets. I mean,
well, he isn't the Jets. He's playing the Dolphins. But you do know that Gaze loves his Gore. So, I mean, he's going to get the work. I don't know why, but he just has this infatuation with Frank Gore. So, Frank the Tank.
I can only be so perfect. I apologize on my mistake. So, next, we kind of want to shift gears and kind of discuss, like we said last week, we're trying to build in DFS a little bit more into our repertoire of fantasy football weather guys. We'd like to say we're semi-experts in the redraft or yearly leagues, but Mike has posed some questions of some DFS picks that we're going to run through as a group for who you'd want to pick. We're going to start with the